We have woven our story to resemble today's political climate. Since we started this project, we have seen similar actions being taken by both the federal government, most notably, the states' alliance being formed to combat Robert Kennedy's actions regarding vaccinations and combating that the CDC recommendations are no longer being based on science and data, but conspiracy theorists. The states are not willing to put their citizens' health and lives at risk. If Kennedy Jr. wants to swim in sewage, then so be it. But to try and dictate that everyone follows his lead is unconscionable. But on to our story and our sincere hope that some of you have enjoyed our efforts. As always, comments and feedback is always a benefit to us. Don't forget at the end will Martrina and Jasper singing their new song Purpleman's Rhythm.
August 1st, 2026 begins the critical phase in which both federal authorities and the Sovereignty Alliance must decide whether to escalate, negotiate, or de-escalate. After 2 weeks of standoffs, legal battles, and resource control, public attention is at a peak, and the nation waits to see if compromise or confrontation will prevail.
Over the last month, the alliance has held its ground. Every state, every resource site, every legal brief has been a test of coordination and resolve. Now, both sides are at a crossroads. It has been shown that the states will not be bullied. They have stood their ground in the courts and in the field. The news outlets are doing their usual song and dance. Only FOX News hasn't been threatened by the FCC over their license if they don't sing presidential praise, but that has always been FOX's stand. If you want to have a sweet government position, then show your fealty and you have passed the exams.
The federal government has increased pressure, but nowhere near the direct confrontation predicted in early reports. Instead, it's a mixture of threats, partial concessions, and uncertainty. Our sources in the White House tell us the president is being told privately that's a time to back off his agenda. It isn't going to go well if he doesn't. If he needs to save face, then tweet to his heart's content, but don't make direct threats or ultimatums. The public is getting tired of it. His MAGA supporters are voicing their displeasure and talks of impeachment are increasing on both sides of the aisle.
For those following us in the San Juan Islands, it's clear. The story is entering its decisive week. I have been working my way back home and love to stop in coffee shops along the way to listen to the local gossip. Feelings are split. There are those that think the president can't be questioned. And across the aisle, next table over, they wonder how he ever got elected. Sometimes the arguments get heated, but I haven't seen any violence.
Negotiation has begun, quietly. Behind closed doors, legal teams meet, governors confer, federal officials propose compromises. 3 potential outcomes emerge. negotiated settlement, partial NRSA repeal, state resource control retained, prolonged standoff, continued defiance, constitutional crisis, risk of armed confrontation. Everyone who has followed this in the news is tense. It's unsettling to worry about a potential civil war.
Partial compliance is floated. Some resources may remain under state operational control, while others temporarily fall under federal oversight. Each proposal carries risk. Acceptance could appear as weakness, refusal could escalate conflict. DC is making two-sided demands that sound and look like compromise, but when the layers are removed like an onion, it becomes more obvious that there is no compromise, just a foot in the door. One that cannot be removed.
Across the country, alliance sites maintain standoff readiness. Barricades, surveillance, and volunteers remain in place. Every moment is a waiting game. Will negotiation hold, or will tension break? People on the streets are confused. They hear one set of arguments, and then the states reply. Some of the people are saying, "Take the deal. Who cares?" And others see the dangers of allowing more federal oversight where the federal government should not be in a controlling position. Of course, both sides accuse the other of stonewalling. Visiting Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles, it's clear people are watching every move. Residents maintain daily routines, yet a quiet undercurrent of tension exists. Officials speak carefully. Volunteers stay vigilant. The greatest challenge the federal government is facing is the feds are lying. Everything has been fact-checked, and DC is either just lying or doing another cover up.
Every handshake, conversation, glance carries meaning. Decisions this week could define the alliance's future and federal-state relations nationwide. Yet neither side trusts the other side. The states are tired of filing one lawsuit after another. This isn't what government should be all about. They know that if they let their guard down, DC will walk in and take over.
The governors confer remotely. Options are clear. Negotiate partial settlement, continue the standoff, or risk escalation. Legal advisors weigh risks. Public opinion is monitored. Every time the states get stronger, the president implements his famous diversion tactics. Anything to cause a distraction. We are still waiting for the Epstein files to be released.
Logistical teams prepare for all possibilities: extended standoff, resource management, and safety contingencies. Fatigue is rising, but resolve remains. The public's attention span is faltering. The "why do we really care" attitude is starting to show, and they are tired of the daily drama the new president has brought. We keep hearing on the talking head shows, "Why don't they just impeach him again?"
Across all sites, the alliance watches. Every state's decision will ripple outward, shaping the story for weeks to come. It is becoming clear that neither side will let everything drop. Too much time and money has been invested in the fight. Keen observers have been following the international commentary and reactions to this internal conflict. Both Canada and Mexico on our borders see the federal government as another threat to them.
Summary: August 1st, 2026 begins the critical phase in which both federal authorities and the Sovereignty Alliance must decide whether to escalate, negotiate, or de-escalate. After 2 weeks of standoffs, legal battles, and resource control, public attention is at a peak, and the nation waits to see if compromise or confrontation will prevail. August 1st to 7th, Federal Deliberations, White House Considerations. Military advisors caution against deploying National Guard or federal troops to enforce NRSA mandates. Risk of casualties and political fallout is extreme. DOJ suggests economic penalties and selective injunctions rather than physical enforcement. Congress begins emergency hearings to explore legislative compromise. Federal messaging emphasis on law and order, but toned down to avoid inflaming alliance states. Calls for negotiation over confrontation start to appear in major speeches and press briefings. August 2nd to 8th, Alliance Strategy, Continued Coordination. Alliance governors maintain daily video briefings to ensure consistent messaging and resource control. Legal teams focus on Supreme Court appeal, citing 10th Amendment and interstate compact protections. Public Engagement Alliance states emphasize citizen-first policies, water flows stabilized, energy deliveries maintained, ports operating. Media campaigns frame Alliance as responsible stewards of state resources, contrasting with Washington's heavy-handed mandates. August 9th to 14th. Negotiation initiatives, congressional mediation. Bipartisan congressional leaders request a joint alliance federal negotiation. Alliance representatives demand repeal or suspension of NRSA mandates. Federal acknowledgement of state authority over energy, water, and agriculture. Formal interstate compacts legalized to prevent future unilateral federal overreach. Federal offer. White House proposes partial suspension of NRSA, leaving key national security powers intact but promising consultation with affected states. Possible outcomes: 1. Negotiated settlement, most likely NRSA partially repealed or amended. Alliance states retain practical control over key resources. Political compromise framed as mutual respect for sovereignty. 2. Prolonged standoff. Federal authorities maintain threat of enforcement. Alliance continues legal and logistical defiance. National tension persists. Economy and political climate remain fragile. 3. Constitutional crisis. Escalation. Miscalculation or accident leads to confrontation at a key resource site. National Guard and Alliance state forces could clash. Risk of broader civil unrest and lasting political fracture. Analysts note, after nearly a month of coordinated standoffs, the Sovereignty Alliance has demonstrated strategic, operational, and legal capacity to challenge federal authority without triggering mass violence. The resolution phase will define the precedent for federal-state relations for decades. Public opinion and economic stability remain the ultimate leverage points. Both sides recognize the high cost of escalation. Potential risk level. Variable. Contingent on willingness to negotiate versus push for hard enforcement.
So where do we leave things? Negotiation may succeed, standoff may continue, or escalation could loom. One thing is certain: the pattern we've followed, loyalty, defiance, and control, has already reshaped the map. The president's overt attack on free speech has raised the ire of just about everyone. His core support is speaking out against him. The honeymoon is over, and everyone, domestic and foreign, can't ignore or write off his abusive behavior. The FCC's attempt to control broadcast commentary, threatening licenses if they don't praise the administration instead of telling what they see, has caused the American people to finally say, enough is enough.
The federal government will move cautiously. The alliance will hold its ground. For citizens, the question remains, which path will they accept? Robert and I think DC has pushed too far, made too many demands, and the question is, will the president back down or throw a more common tantrum? If you follow European news and commentary, you will see their coverage is starting resemble a late-night comedy show. They just can't believe we have let everything go so far. We have reached a constitutional crisis, and we can't rely on the courts as we did before. Everyone seems to be bought off or threatened. It seems everything the president does is an embarrassment.
From the San Juan Islands to the heart of these cities, tension lingers. Orders are followed, but eyes are watching. Decisions will be made, but consequences will unfold. And some truths are still hidden. Mom and Dad have suggested I come home. Nobody really cares about our little sanctuary. All our passports are up to date, as everyone's should be by now.
Next week, the nation watches as it always does. It's time to stand up and be heard if you're unhappy about what we are dealing with. Our suggestion is to ignore the many diversions thrown at us. They are designed to daze and confuses us. What the left hand while the right hand takes everything from you. It would be nice to have a definitive ending, But reality is that there never is one. Have we learned any lessons? Probably not, since it keeps happening over and over. But at least you can enjoy Martrina and Jasper do their song Purpleman's Rhythm, now available on YouTube as a playlist. Thanks for taking time from your busy days to join us for what we hoped was a good yarn.
With all the uncertainty at this time, Laura and Emily suggested I get the boat cleaned up and ready in case life gets a little too interesting.
Down in the streets where the shadows play, whispers of change start to find their way. Voices once silent, now howl in the night, striking like thunder, demanding their right. Power in the people, rising from the ground. From city lights to the dusty plains, they've been sleeping while the rulers drain. Now every hand, every heart, every soul joining together, taking back control. Power in the people, rising from the ground. Purpleman's rhythm, shaking all around. No more hiding, no more chains. We're the fire running through the veins. Call and response, sax, wails, guitar cries, echo of the people who will no longer lie. Let the blues carry the truth tonight. Every note a spark, every chord a fight. Leaders may tremble, their towers may fall. We're the heartbeat, the answer to the call. From whispers to roars, from shadows to flame. Purpleman's people